problems on the peninsula. We had a double-decker bus on fire in Burlingame much earlier today, southbound 101 at Broadway in Burlingame. It slows through Burlingame, but that's just our commute kicking in there. Next update at 3:18 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Thank you, Kim. It is a beautiful day out there. Warm, mostly sunny around the bay. Temperatures in the 80s, 90s inland. The marine layer is keeping the coast a little cooler. 60s at the coast, 70s around the bay shoreline. Our overnight lows tonight will be closer to 50 under cloudy skies. Right now, I can see it really heating up in the East Bay. Livermore with 88 degrees. Fairfield and Suisun City, 90 degrees. Pretty warm in the South Bay, too. 81 degrees in San Jose. Traffic and weather together on the 8s on KCBS.
What if you could have the most reliable...
All right, we are underway.
Get this. What if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Just 5 years of fiber-powered Wi-Fi that boosts speed to the devices that need them most. That finds and fixes problems before you even notice them. Like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a sixth sense. And that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family is banking on bandwidth. And here's the best part. No annual contract, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included. Plus, pay online in minutes with same-day Wi-Fi.
What's going on, Ronnie?
Face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids
What's going on?
Dreams grow bigger.
Man, I thought these allergy shots would help me. Shit. It's been a bad day.
Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities.
Shit.
Xfinity.
My luck, they probably made it worse. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. Please hit that thumbs up button. Had a lot going on yesterday. Extremely busy. Frankly, did not have the energy to go live yesterday. So, and I'm barely hanging today with the allergies. I don't know what the hell it is. Must be a couple different kinds of weeds or something around here. All right, let's get a cup of coffee and let's get the show on the road. We got 15 people and only 1 thumbs up. Let's go ahead and notch up that thumbs up. It is very appreciated. Not a lot going on, not a lot to talk about today. Might head out the road. Oil price is still high. I got a big blowback from people piling into my Gmail telling me there were gas stories, how much it cost them to fill up. I hear you. I don't need any more stories. I get the picture. I get it, people. I never chat here. Oh, come on, man. What is that doing there? All right, we're gonna flip it around here. I don't know why this goof's got a cone here. I have no idea why that goof's got a cone. Hey Naomi, how you doing, babe? Moderators, please encourage people to hit the thumbs up button. It is appreciated. My eyes are itchy. I'm itchy. she's a super freak, man. She's a freak. She's a super freak. She's a freak. And my eyes are itchy AF. Because all of a sudden the grass exploded everywhere. My allergy shot's not doing a damn thing. Maybe it is. Maybe I'd be in the hospital by now. I don't know. Welcome in, everybody. Happy Monday to you. We're going to have some hot dogs tonight. I want to eat those chicken dogs. Let's hope we can get out of here. One piece so we don't get T-boned. That's good. Everybody's good today. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, guys. I'm waiting for this last allergy attack to pass. This place sucks for allergies. 1 year of shots. For what, Ronnie? For pain. It's a pain in the ass. I need a cup of coffee. Tomorrow I got a big job. A busy week, ladies and gentlemen. Haven't had a lot of time for much else. I did manage to finish the weeding today and get the front all cut. You know what they say about weeds. Give them an inch, they'll take a yard. So I had to get in there and pull like crazy. Today I got them done. You just don't want to destroy it. There's an old cop car. Yeah. So a lot of people have asked me to weigh in on AI. A lot of people have asked me to weigh in on the Iran deal, the fact that silver exploded today. And you got to understand, we have a monster deficit in silver. So I imagine in pretty short order we'll be back above $100 an ounce again. We'll talk about a little bit that we haven't talked about too much. I do have another speculative investment that I will talk about a little bit. With the caveat that it's highly speculative. It could go to zero or it could go to 1,000 times its present price. With that disclaimer that I'm not a financial advisor and I don't play one. On TV, you're on your own. Yo-yo. We'll be tearing into that today for those of you who are kind of tech geeks. And even to those who aren't. Remind me of that later. Continue to do well in agro, AGRO, which I'm sure, given the price of oil and things, as you see, up. Silver up. And I'm tagging June 2027 is the convergence place. All the, and I've said this before, as Ronnie will tell you, where all the chickens come home to roost. I have a little more AI behind me now, a little more baseline. Did you look for my response today, Naomi? Check your mail. always pull your name out of the 100+ emails that roll in every day asking questions about this vintage audio unit, that crabbing setup, this metal detecting. What's up, Dr. Frankenstein? People are the worst parallel parkers. Oh, I thought my allergy shots would help me. I hate to think it made it worse. Oh, shit. I don't need to see this meter maid over here today. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Yeah, I got work tomorrow, man. I got a big project to do tomorrow. Ooh. Yeah. The meter maid, yeah. Oh, boy. Thank you, Jerry. Something I deal with every year. It makes 6 weeks of misery up here. Up in this area has some of the worst allergy grasslands in America here. Oh man, meter maid of the year, man. She should get some kind of raise. It looks like I've been bawling my eyes out today, but oh man, I feel like it. Oh shit. Oh. All right. Man, it's like there must be multiple kinds and they probably only set me up with like one of them or something. So it's like, what's the freaking point of it? Going for 7th, that's it. So welcome in, everybody. What's today, Monday? Yeah, I was awful busy yesterday, but I'm really glad to be with you guys today. I got everything done, pretty much caught up on the back 40. I weeded all of the onions and tomatoes. Oh shit. These dogs couldn't wait to sniff each other's heinies. Funny. You should get the wieners from Costco and barbecue them up. You know what? I looked at those wieners and the calorie count per wiener is just ridiculous. It's like 700 calories. For a hot dog, it's just not going to flush with me. I get these chicken franks. They're like 120 calories. 120 calories for one of those bad boys. I just don't know if I want that much fat in my mouth from that. But I know they're good. My soup is good. I'm gonna have to take a trip over to what the wiener. What's going on, Kelly? How you doing, babe? Probably go over to Costco beef ones. No, I like pork and beef. I don't like an all beef hot dog. I like pork and beef. I don't like mechanically separated pig's hearts. But you know, from the rooter to the tooter, everything else goes into the hot dog, and that's all right. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. They just load it up because people have a taste for fat, that's all. Right. But, you see, I don't eat a lot of salty snack. I don't eat a lot of junk food. Not that I consider it junk food because I love processed food. But, you know, sometimes I'm astounded by the calorie count on that thing. 2 of those hot dogs would meet your whole adult's calorie requirement for a day. I stopped and got some corn today. I got 5 ears for $5. Yeah, it's expensive, but it was really beautiful, good. White boy corn. It looked really good. I had one for lunch. It was excellent. Excellent. Yeah, I never really look too closely at bratwurst because I usually just have two. Usually I don't even have rolls because I'm seeing the raccoon scenes in the grate out there. I've been begging for like one heck of miss fish and chicken and sausage or something. Kelly, why did you go vegan? I'm just curious. I always like to ask people. How you doing, Joni? No, I've had allergy stuff all day, so I've been sneezing and driving myself crazy here today. My eyes are very itchy and watery. Brainwashed when I was young. I love that. I love that answer. That's fantastic. Yeah, I'll be all right. This will pass in a little bit. These attacks come in waves. Usually like every 6 to 8 hours you'll have a attack. But, you know, I'm disappointed because I went through all these shot series. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's 2 kinds of grass that I'm allergic. I don't know how it works. I don't know. Uh-oh. Sounds like a screamer around here somewhere. Yeah, what's going on, Joni? Joni, is AI going to replace the call center? I have been MIA, just got back from Florida. Yeah, you went down to get pick up a dog, right? I only got stuff from that food court with my card one time. And I got 2 pieces of pizza, and I couldn't even eat the second piece. I could not even eat the second piece. It was so big, the slice. I just wasn't really down with that much. I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't the best I ever tasted, but it sure as hell wasn't the worst. I still got a 7-Eleven one in the freezer. They had a buy one, get one BOGO. Last year I got that. Let's heck, mushy for me. I've been dealing with the receptionist at hotels we call AI receptionist. Yeah, they're going to be taking all those jobs. Oh, I feel good, Angus Kisses. I just look like hell. Just because it takes a toll on the eyes, or like the most visible thing on your body when you're dealing with allergies. So, I can already tell this is passing already right now. But I did get to work outside. This weeds really, I was really surprised when I was in Las Vegas. I did the video yesterday. And I was really surprised how fast everything grew. I had these real little skinny onions. Looked almost like a blade of grass. I come back, I got full-blown onion tops in there. It was pretty wild. And the tomatoes like quadrupled in size on me. But with that came the allergies. So yeah, I haven't seen our friendly meter maid. It's a little bit early for that, but you know, she hasn't bothered me in a couple years sitting here. My father's second wife had I guess my stepmom. She had a Dachshund. It was a great dog. I didn't spend that much time with it, but it was a hell of a nice dog. Hey Jen, how you doing? Those dogs are really heavy for their size. I mean, they're muscular. They're like strong dogs. I mean, you pick one of them up and you think it's going to be fluffy, and it turns out to be a pretty hard-packed sausage. You know what I'm saying? A pretty hard-packed sausage. I dealt with AI Lowe's. She was awful. She wouldn't close the deal. I found out much more horrific shit about the AI in the course of using it for fact verification and some other things in my writing. Yeah, it's a definite downside to it that I discovered, that the average person, 99% of people are never going to know when they go to use AI or whatever. But it was good at, you know, I would have like 2 data series. Like, let's say I wanted to plot 2 things and see if there was any correlation between it. And for me, if I had to do something like that with data going back to, let's say going back to like 1900 or something like that, even 1700, it would take me, what, weeks to dig out all the data points over that period of time. And I just tell AI, I just type in what I wanted to do, and then boom, from 1700 to the current time, I got 2 data series plotted right there. Now that's very useful, because that can be very telling, because I know Dr. Frankenstein knows about correlation coefficients and all that. R equals. Yeah, having teeth pulled. I still have all my teeth. I had an upper and lower wisdom tooth on this side pulled, but I still have all my teeth. So if you have an idea and you can put it into terms that it can put onto a chart or something, yeah, it's a pretty, you can start to see things that have never been seen before. And I think that that's pretty wild. But otherwise, it's got some real, yeah, Pearson's R. And also, you know, I get into Fourier analysis and all that, and how that can be very, that can really lead you astray, because you can put a Fourier curve through noise, right? It doesn't mean that it means anything, right? I mean, I really love mathematics and things, but I'm not going to get geeky on you, but I'm just saying, yeah, Dr. Frankenstein knows what I'm saying. It's so, yeah, I've probably been more involved in AI than probably 99% of the people so far, because it's going to be a year or two still downstream where people are going to be, you know, they don't know how to use it. Yeah, ibuprofen works well for me. But that's been very helpful in my work, because I'm the first one that's ever, you know, relating to things. Because you ask AI, has this ever been done before? Search the date. No, it hasn't ever been done before. You can be really pioneering with your things. So what can we expect? I'm not sure what that means. What can we expect? Yeah, data set correlation. What can we expect about what, Mark? I'm just saying, I've learned a lot. Some of it is very disturbing to me. Very, very disturbing, especially if you're trying to do something independent and you're going counter culture, counter politically correct and stuff. You might be in for a whale of a big surprise. A real big surprise. I'm not sure, Mark Szymanski, what you're asking, bro. I'm just saying, all of you are going to be involved in AI. I do wonder what the math is that is behind it, or is it just giant data banks and glory? All it is hyper computing. That's all it is. Well, we know about it. I don't believe there's aliens. I sure as hell don't believe it. The physics doesn't support it. It's more bullshit to just notice the shell game that goes on. When there's something uncomfortable in one area, like in Iran war, and then all of a sudden, hey, we're gonna release UFO shit today. Oh, okay. And the crowd runs over here. And then on the days when the news is really bad from over there, then I'll get stuff about Kylie Jenner removing her Brazilian butt lift or whatever. I don't know what you're saying, Mark. You're only putting one or two words. Put a complete sentence together. No, they're not real. The physics doesn't support it being real. It's impossible. I'm pro-Trump. Yeah, it's got nothing about being pro-Trump or anything. I'm just saying there's two things that happen in news cycles. Like if you're Fox News and you had a bad day at the office in the war, then you're more apt to see a Kylie Jenner, did this, that, or the other that day. It's all this distractionary bullshit that goes on. They're going to release the Ronnie. That's what I say, man. We have satellite detection that in 1967 could see a Egyptian officer checking his watch at the Suez Canal in 1967, but we can't get a nice clean, anything above a 240p resolution like we're shooting with the potato all the time on this stuff. It's all such a bunch of bullshit, all this aliens and all this UFO. It's a bunch of shit. Had to return the gorilla gun and we were losing the light. Oh man. There's so much bullshit that's in the world today, it's unbelievable. Somebody gets a piece of dust on their camera, right? Oh, ooh, look at this thing! It's like a torpedo. I enjoy being part of the most hated generation in America right now. That's kind of cool. I've been enjoying that status. How you doing? Who's that, Sheila? How you doing, honey? I've been enjoying that status, the most hated generation. The one that sucked all the juice out of the lemon. That is pretty funny, folks. The one that sucked all the juice out. Yeah, the children of the greatest generation, yes. And we're the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst of the and I think that's so funny, right? Somebody's like, you sucked all the juice out of it, right? And I'm like, baby, I'm still sucking it out. These kids are angry beavers. I'll tell you what. They're all standing by with their hands out, waiting for that great turd of money to drop. That big, great turd to come tumbling down. Granddad, rather. Oh, it's pretty funny. What is your take on Gen X? I don't really know. I don't really know that much about it. I don't know. Existing Kelly Mono, but what the heck was it, Jarrett? They're not going to have futures, but they can't even fight. I'm not aware. It's the Gen. It's the Gen X, the Gen Zs that are. Oh, Fongola, baby. Think about this, guys. We borrowed $40 trillion from them, and you don't have to pay it back, right? We borrowed $40 million and then left the restaurant, took our napkin. Would you like the bill now? No. Give it to them over there. 65 to 80. And the tender we never had. I'm just having fun. I'm not making any claims. People are individuals. It's only in the last 30 years we put people into a category. Gen Z is the one that just wants everything handed to them on a platter with, I exist, therefore I am, so you should support me. I just feel sorry for all these people that just sat through 4 years of computer science hell to graduate and be a geek and have nothing. They'll be competing with carry class up there, scrubbing those toilets. Good, honest work. Once you label me, you negate me. What's going on, Mary? Yeah, we never labeled people before. It wasn't until Tom Brokaw called it the greatest generation that the people born between World War I, after World War I. How you doing, Tess? Are you the greatest generation, Tess? I don't know how it came down, ladies and gentlemen, but there's intergenerational warfare afoot. There is intergenerational warfare afoot. I'll tell you too, today there was a lot more clarity on silver. The silver shortage is staggering right now. Absolutely staggering, like 800 million ounce shortage or something like that. So that's pretty wild. We had silver up like $6 an ounce today to $86 or something. I wouldn't be surprised if we sail right past the old high of 121. Wouldn't surprise me at all. $200 would just get us to the inflation adjusted price. And to think you could have had that for $3 or $5 an ounce back in the 1993, 94. So, moving along, I had a ton of questions about the Iran situation and what I think is going to happen and all that. Well, the deadline came and went. As expected, Iran standing every bit of its ground and then some. So there's really nothing new. There's really nothing new about it. They kind of got us by the balls. We got them by the balls. The problem is the civilian population is really suffering now. The Iranian currency is virtually it's zero. It has no value to it. So, as I said yesterday, people are selling pots and pans or selling whatever they can to get food. It's a very tough situation over there. A lot of shops have closed down. They don't have internet. So it almost goes without saying, if you don't have internet these days, it's almost impossible to do commerce. Almost impossible to do commerce. So a lot of shops, a lot of people have gone out of business in Iran for lack of money that anybody wants to take, for lack of internet. So it's a real mess, and we're coming into the hot season over there too. And the worst thing about over there, that humidity can really hit. I'm not sure how a dry heat is. I'll let Dr. Frankenstein weigh in on that. Managers are not a viable alternative. So, somebody's going to have to make a move. We're just tying up all this money over there, and then people have come in. Yeah, I don't have advice. I just analyze stuff. I'm going to give you an idea for a stock that I've been researching a little bit. The agro's done very well. I expect that to do tremendously going forward due to the constraints of fertilizer and I don't know how many, 120,000 hectares of land and gigantic agribusiness in South America down there. Which means you're not in the line of fire of what's going on in the Middle East right now. Now the planting season is winding down, so I don't know what it means for yields. Have you ever been to Oregon? Yeah, I've been to Oregon. Yeah, I've been up to Oregon. I did recorded video. I didn't do any live streams. I was with the boss and Janet on a road trip all the way up to Anacortes, which is just south of Canada there, all the way up to Washington State. I saw Lincoln City. I saw Tillamook. I loved it. It's beautiful. What was the other one? Newport. Beautiful. I never had any interest to go to the Northwest because it's too green. There's too many trees and stuff. But I had a good time. I don't like it when things are too green. There's too much nature around. I feel compressed. I got to have a shot. You know what I mean? It's just it's too daunting. I love being in the heart of the city. Thick, man. You know, I can only look at so much green, and then I just gotta back off. I can only, you know, I get saturated very quickly in nature. Really saturated really fast. Anyway, so that's my take on what's going on over there, since you asked. The problem is we're in the, it looks like, no, it's really comfortable here. It's 89 degrees. It's probably really 86 degrees. It's probably in the mid 80s. It's beautiful. It's just my allergies kicked in. What's happening now is we're starting to get the squeeze on oil, I think. It's like Bloomberg reported, which is a great financial source. They reported that the buffer stocks that the world had accumulated, you know, X 100 million barrels or whatever that they had accumulated as a buffer in case of something like this happened, has almost been worked through now. So you're having now a time where you need to almost have direct to buyer now. There's no intermediary, and that's just the time you can really have a short squeeze here. So we really don't know what it's going to be. Doesn't take long for a 20% pinch in oil supply to have an effect in the world. You might say, well, 80% is still there, but it's a very finely balanced equation. Usually in your life, you'll find that 5% is enough to disrupt and cause significant problems. So there's that. So I know Kelly came out of a briefing and said that we chewed down on a lot of our ordinance and stuff, which I think we kind of knew. Alan Gentry said that. It's going to take years. There's never a guarantee that shock and awe is going to do the job. And if it doesn't do the job, then you're really up a pole. It's like Alan Gentry said the other day, then you're looking at boots on the ground and stuff, and that's when the math gets really hairy there. In the heat, otherwise, it's been pretty quiet news-wise the last couple of days. I haven't checked. I've been too busy working. I've had a lot of work to do. I got a project to do tomorrow. But I'm very happy the front yard's done, the backyard, everything's weeded. I just want to press this book to completion. I gave myself a hard deadline of Memorial Day to be done everything. Format, notes, bibliography, the whole deal all wrapped up. Then to get a second copyright revised. I don't know if I just heard Moderna stock is up. They're shooting on Memorial Drive, Cambridge today. Well, a lot of people have been appreciative of the stock and the investment stuff that I've talked about. Silver, agro, WEAT. Where are you going? What does that mean, Kimberly? Honey, I am sitting still right now. I've been battling allergies today. And now that attack is past. Oh, I'm fine. I don't feel bad, Kimberly. They come and go, the allergy attack. It's okay. I'm used to them. It's been a lot of years. I'm just relaxing this afternoon. I've had some hard work the last few days. I had some people that wrote me and said that they didn't believe what I said about the total value of all of NVIDIA Corporation. Just the value of that one company alone equals the entire manufacturing productive base of the United States value. And they're like, I could not believe when I looked that up and found out it was true. There's a lot of shocking shit out there once you start to look for it. Oh, yeah, it's not really a lawn, it's just a weed farm, but it looks okay when you cut it. But it's all weeds. The front yard looks atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. I probably have to put some new sprinkler heads in. Yeah, they don't pop up and down correctly. But when you think of one company equals the entire productive base, all the railroads, all the planes, all the cars, all the manufacturing, all the food, everything, it's pretty amazing how either something is dreadfully overvalued or something is dreadfully undervalued. Man, what a beautiful afternoon. Oh. Sometimes you just want to sit. As the days go by, as the sand through the hourglass, so go the days of our lives. So what's coming up? Next week, I'm going to just do nothing but inside stuff. And then the following week, we're going to start the Shine Shack project. And when that's complete, we're going to... Well, I do have a baseball game coming up on the 16th. Which is Sunday, so that's going to be great. I heard crazy things, and the shooter thought he was in a video. The shots fired. How you doing, Alan? So it's interesting. We were talking about, Alan, how it's interesting that we have a war that both countries are kind of over a barrel. It's like the poster child for modern warfare. It's like if there weren't civilians involved, this thing would have been over 6 weeks ago. But the civilian population so complicate things now. People just riding along. I love your fishing and food. Yeah, want some crabs? Maybe not. Crab season goes until the end of June. I think the commercial fishermen cut their season way short. It just wasn't commercially viable. The market's just not been there for it. Too much regulation with the traps and whales getting caught in lines, and it's a whale's world. What's going on, Daniel? That they just decided that the juice is not worth the squeeze, and well, they just stopped going out. That's it. So it's another dying industry. People can't afford it anymore. They used to be able to buy crab, have it for Thanksgiving, Christmas. Used to be a real San Francisco, real West Coast tradition. Stone crab ended here in the Florida Keys. I actually prefer to go in summertime because I got the whole place to myself, and I do really good with the red rock crab, which to me tastes every bit as good as the Dungeness crab. A lot of people don't like it because they're not as meaty, the body of it, but they're great. So that'll probably be on next week's agenda because the tide will work in my favor at that time. I like to fish like 2 hours before the high tide and 1 hour after. So I like to crab fish for about 4 hours, 2 hours in front, 2 hours behind high tide. And this time of year, there's less people that are interested in crabbing or anything. They're all burned out. They don't want to spend the money to drive from the East Bay, the 120 miles each way to get over to Bodega Bay. It's like the world is just tired right now. Does anybody else get that feeling? People are just wrung out. They're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's weird. Not me. What's going on with you, Trug? Would be good if you vlog it. Same here. We can buy. I always vlog my crabbing trips. You can buy down grandmother. You can buy the gas and hassle taking out the boat. What's going on, Trog? It's just that people here, their budgets are just stretched too tight right now. I have to replace my homeowner's insurance. 14 years, what, 15 years with 14 years with Geico, not Geico, but Safeco. That's a kick in the sack. This state is just it's not economically viable to do business here anymore. The cost of the houses, insurance companies just can't bear the shoulder the risk anymore with it. When do you pay a year? I could do some bad. What do you pay a year if I could be some bold? What does that mean? Oh, I pay I paid like $1,200 a year. I started at 500 and then it just went up every year. I think it was like 1,200 my last time. It's a small place. What you're really paying is liability insurance in case some dope trips out front or something and puts a stick in his eye or something. I think the guy gets better. It gets. I think the economy is even going to get worse. It gets better if it gets better. Well, the interesting phenomena today is I think the federal government is starting to lose the interest rate war. I mean, I don't know how many hundreds of billions of dollars have been expended buying our own debt that's issued by the Treasury. It's like I said before, it's like buying lemonade from your own lemonade stand. I don't know how much longer that can continue. The Fed is choking on paper like a pig. And they might vomit all that paper out, I don't know. But you can tell interest rates want to blow big time. That's probably what silver was signaling today. We're getting ready to break out of this 3.9 to 4.5% range. And then you're really going to pinch housing, cars, everything. The Fed is choking on paper like a pig. Like that. Well, it's true, Ricky. Tell them about it. It's equivalent to a kid buying lemonade from his own lemonade stand and booking it as revenue. I mean, it's that ridiculous. And you wonder why your shit costs so much, because you're in there with the federal government and Treasury that are handing out money left, right, and center to people that they didn't earn taxes on. And they're going out and spending it on food and shit that they're competing with you. It's like game over, people. June 2027. Only had one man there, 50 lost his 30 grand. Now it's a real logistics problem. It's a real, let's burn the oil late at night in the Treasury offices and figure out what the hell to do. You get less people overseas that are interested in holding our paper. The Iran war didn't help any, I guarantee you that. That just knocked the U.S., the opinion of the U.S. down a couple notches. Yeah, hurricane insurance, just let it rip, baby. Just let it rip. I don't care about the house, the property, anything. The only thing I want to protect myself is against the slob that trips out front or something and wants a multi-million-dollar judgment. Welcome back, Mark. Mark, the man of few words. So our interest rates look like this current range is going to be impossible to keep capped here. And I think if we break out of this range to the upside, the effect on housing and cars is going to be catastrophic here. So what we did, basically, we borrowed $50 trillion to $40 trillion, and we passed the bill to our children and grandchildren. Hey, it's your problem. But we didn't get anything out of it. Yeah, but I did. Aren't you happy for your grandpa? I'd like to murder you. Do you still believe in the president? He is the president, right? So I have to hope that everything turns out okay. That's my job, to be supportive of the presidency of the United States. That's all I ever knew growing up how to be, was whoever sits in that chair gets my full support. If other people choose to remove him, then I'll be with the next guy. You know, insurance companies have a tendency to make up their own rules when it comes to paying off. Really? What would give you that idea, Trog? Gosh, you would think that the insurance companies weren't playing square with people the way you talk. That they don't sit in meetings on Monday morning and talk about how we minimize casualty claims. Really? Examine everything. Look at every loophole. Right? Find an escape clause in every contract. Now get out there and make me proud. There'll be a box of steak knives for the one that does the best job. What's first prize? You get to keep your job. I think, to be honest with you, I really get the sense that both parties are very wary of the future right now. Both of them are looking down the road. They're not liking what they're seeing. So I don't see anybody rushing into the vacuum. These people that are running for governor of California and stuff and mayor of LA, they're running into the teeth of of a tiger. That's the only way I can put it. All of a sudden, baby, you're in the arena. Those doors open. You get a foot in your back. Doors closed. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, and Romans of all ages, on today's card, first let's praise Caesar Augustus. Hail Caesar! I was ready to do. How you doing? What's going on, Eddie? Nobody has any solutions down the road. I mean, our Treasury Secretary, if you've seen him lately, he seems to be a very competent appearing fellow. He looks like, he looks like a deer that's caught in the headlights these days. I tell it like it is, Kimberly. I tell it like it is, babe. I gotta be me. So anyway, I don't know if you guys want to hear about the next investment idea. It's much more speculative, which means it's much more dangerous. This is the kind of investment that could be 1,000 to 1 shot. But the downside probability is higher that you could experience a wipeout, right? So, I mean, I put that out with full high risk, high reward. I put that out before I talk about this, so I'm fully protected and I'm on video and recorded too, is telling people about it. We all view things differently through our perspective. Well, there's only one perspective that counts, Trog, and that's the truth. But as as Pontius Pilate said, truth, what is truth? One of the most profound sayings in the entire Bible. Oh no, carry classes, you tell it I'm recording you. Well, we'll wait a little bit, we'll build it up a little bit. I don't want to just, everybody should be in aggro. That's up 40% from the call. Truth, what is the truth? Everybody has a bias. Everybody's going to shape a story to their own, what settles best in their mind. And hard things are hard to hear sometimes. They're hard to accept. Which means over time that people are more, when you think about it philosophically, people are more inclined to accept and take to heart things that they can believe in versus things that may be factually true, but yet they're not predisposed to accept the truth. That happens a lot. I'm like, never mind, that is the big picture. Well, Carrie Class, do you think anybody here cares? Honestly? Jack Nicholson, you can't handle the truth. Carrie Class, our love is alive, and so it begins. Foolishly laying our cards on the table, stumbling in. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I'll always keep my eyes following you. Our love is alive, ooh, 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 and so it begins, do, 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 do. Hi there. Yeah, the funniest thing the last few days, I've caught AI just outright bullshitting and outright lying, which is concerning. There goes boosted board, boy. Have you ever seen a UAP? I don't believe in them, Trug. I believe things can be unidentified, but I don't believe it has anything to do with aliens. It's far more likely to be an angel or a devil. The physics of it just doesn't support extraterrestrial bullshit. Oh, they're not out there, Mark. They've never been proven to be out there. Not once. Not once has one ever landed in the middle of Times Square and got out and said greetings. It's always low resolution pictures and video that are shot with potatoes, like Bigfoot in the woods. It's a diversionary tactic. Whenever something's gone bad in war or something, they release bullshit about UFOs. It gets ladies and gentlemen, now in your right ring of the 3-ring circus, it is UFO time. Don't watch that middle ring anymore. It's all such a diversion. It's all such a pathetic mind game. The mind games end at 5% 10-year yield. And hello, June of 2027. You mean to tell that they're using, yes, diversionary tactics, of course. Didn't the Romans use bread in circuses? Whilst Rome was crumbling around? Keep people entertained. Make sure to keep those streaming Netflix and Disney and Peacock rolling. I wouldn't want to miss an episode of Real Housewives. So just because you say something exists in the way of UFOs doesn't mean it exists. Our love is alive. There were nowhere near 174,000 jobs. It was 119,000, of which 77,000 were healthcare support positions. Manufacturing still bleeding jobs. If you took Medicare and Medicaid spending out from the equation of job creation, which will be happening over the next 10 years, the money won't be there for it. You'll see a real drop in healthcare. I never did understand that no tax on seniors had nothing to do with, didn't have. I'm not sure what a no tax on seniors mean. I paid taxes. If you're talking about the proposal in California to exempt seniors from property tax, maybe that's a different story. They will come up with a new scheme. What will it be, Mark? What will the new scheme be? Give everybody a monopoly board and an empty office in a vacant office building and play Monopoly, or what? You got to understand, guys, the string is running out, and now you have a government that wants to spend an extra $1.5 trillion on war material. Another bill that'll be passed down to the kids and the grandkids. Who will get what out of it? Nothing. A world of less. The no tax on senior. Well, that's not a no tax. That's just a special standard deduction. Enhanced standard deduction. I still pay tax. Jobs to make that war material. A lot of those jobs are high-tech done now. They're done by robotics, because who's going to trust Cletus to be on the assembly line on Monday morning when he's putting a critical warhead together? He could take out the whole plant. Is it the blue wire or the boom? Is it the blue wire or the red one? Snip. So I tell carry class there's 1,700 job openings at Lockheed Martin. The world is your oyster, bro. Cleaning toilets or working in a nice clean environment building strategic warheads. Sounds like a good trade-off to me. You did it, you mentioned the toilets, yeah. Well, it seems a fair swap, but that stuff is very precision. You need a high degree of security clearance to work in a place like that. He may not have the security clearance. Not every slob can just walk in off the street and plop down in the middle of a clean as a whistle manufacturing floor somewhere in Wichita. I'll tell you, Glenn L. Martin came a long way from an airfield in Baltimore. One time the largest sole proprietorship in the United States. Scrubbing units. This is a mop. This is a toilet brush. It is my toilet brush. I think you run all kinds of scams up there in Minnesota. It seems like Minnesota is like the epicenter of scamming. I wouldn't be surprised if you're a Somali on the payroll of Ilhan Omar up there. Scrubby. Mr. I'm gay, I'm Jewish, right? I scrub toilets. I mean, the lies that spill out of this guy's mouth are, and he's going to talk about other people. I don't think you've done an honest day's work in your life, Carrie Glass. I think you're sitting there in mom's basement sucking down a disability check every month and some food stamps, which, if it's deserved, which is fine, I don't mind supporting that. But you complain too much about working, how hard you had to work for your degree. I came out of an engineering high school with like a below C+ average. I am less of a crock tan. What is a crook tan? Oh, see, there it comes at now. That's it. That's what we always waited for. The jealousy of, I don't do anything worthwhile in life, so I'm going to attack. It took a long time to get through that. You're welcome, Mark. We got to the truth of that, didn't we? Yeah, I'll tell you, whoever, if you're disabled and you're rightfully disabled, I am privileged and happy to support you. I consider it my duty to take care of those who have been enfeebled to a point that they cannot take care of themselves. I think that is the duty. It's what differentiates a civilized society from an uncivilized society. That's the difference. Yeah, well, that's your opinion, isn't it, Carrie Class? That's all about you. The world is all about you all the time, and what you think is the thing that holds sway. You should say that about he's just jealous about it. He's jealous because he's left no mark on the world except his pathetic lifestyle. What's another night at Cucumbers, more or less, where he talks about poor paying jobs in the world, and yet he eats at a place where people are working for slave wages at a fast food restaurant. I mean, that's the height of hypocrisy right there. It's like, I don't like that these people aren't properly paid, but yet I'm going to patronize the employer that exploits them. Okay. Okay. By the way, guys, the fourth annual fundraiser will take place in November. Please start saving your quarters, dimes, nickels, pennies now. This is the year cumulatively we go over 50K, and wouldn't that be exciting? Wouldn't that be exciting? That's the goal this year. I got to figure out what's going to take us over the top. And it's nice to have an army behind me. Beautiful to have an army. Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it, Mark? I mean, it's fantastic. 5 years ago, we did the Redwood Empire Food Bank, so this has been much more targeted. It will be like the donated. Yes, it will be. Same thing. And this is going to be a great year. This is going to be exciting. This is going to be the best. Yeah, it'll be live it'll be running all month, just like before. Tara will be up here visiting for a bit. And then it'll wrap up just before Thanksgiving in Las Vegas with the mega stream down there. And I think that we can easily raise over 10K. Even if you don't catch it live, you can still donate through the month. Every day the donate button is up. Every video, every live stream has it below it. And people have responded to it, and that's the most beautiful thing of all. We do have a labor shortage, Carrie Class. There's 1,700 job opening at Lockheed Martin. 3M has opened 3 new factories in Minnesota, and you haven't taken the effort to apply to any of them. You would rather wake up in the morning, go do your honest work of brushing out toilets, than to actually use the God-given skills and training that you went to school for. That's the definition of what we call a wastrel, W-A-S-T-R-E-L, a wastrel. Someone who's had all the money poured into them and yet ends up with a menial job. Thus proving that not everybody should go to college. not everybody should go to college because it just ends up being a waste. And there is what I would say is the perfect case study of a guy who just, life is like a lock that has a tumbler on it. Some people get all the numbers correct and the lock opens, and some people get one right, some people get two right. Smaller percentage of people get three right, but there's some guys that get none of them right. There's no point to go if you're not using what you were trained to do. If you're not doing what you were trained to do, it's like you've made a mockery of your education. You've made a mockery of all the money that was poured into it, all the time, all the sweat, all the complaints about how hard it is. And I work so hard to just get a C, and engineering is so difficult, and the math is so brutal. It's like, bro, nobody pushed you into it. There's people that math comes very, very easily, like Stu Unger, the great poker champion that unfortunately died of drug overdose. The guy was a mathematical genius. He could figure the odds on cards that haven't even been gone at yet, based on the number of seats of people that were playing the poker game. In other words, some people have a talent for it and some people don't. Some people have mathematical ability and some people don't. It's like pounding a round peg into a square hole. It's exceedingly difficult. But the average person is going to say, this is not where my talent lies. I'm going to pursue something else that gives me more satisfaction. But if you keep pounding away, that something that is miserable for you, waste of money for some college. It's big business, and that's why the colleges are folding and stuff, because they've got suckers that are coming in. That just think that it's going to be a gateway to a good job. So you have people in Caltech that graduate with all A's. It's expected. These people are genius level. Caltech is the hardest institution to get into. What do they take, one out of every 250 applicants or something? There you have something worthwhile. They're not taking people that don't have aptitude. They don't take people that, Professor Kingsfield, I worked so hard. You come in here with a skull full of mush and you leave thinking like a lawyer. That's why when Magda comes in, Magda lowers the boom on Carrie class. It's like, hey, man, you chose that to do. Right? And I will bet proportionally, I'll bet Magda worked harder in university than Carrie class did. But the load of carrying English is a major. One of the most brutal and underappreciated. But Magda could write. She could read. She could comprehend. She got it. She didn't try to force fit a bad choice and then try to put lipstick on a pig and say it's great. Yeah, there are a lot of brilliant people in the world, and some measure of people have brilliance in mathematics. Whatever the opposite of Goodwill Hunting was, that was Carrie class, right? Right? He's the opposite. He's the kid that would pound his head against the... Right? Right? The one guy's out there mopping floors and he's solving the equation on the blackboard in the hallway, and the other guy's in there just banging his head on the wall. I mean, what the hell? That's what aptitude is all about, ladies and gentlemen. Certain people have God-given aptitudes. I wanted to be a lawyer. I didn't have the aptitude to pursue it and see it all the way through. How you doing, Kelly? I mean, it's just the way it is. You just take it and you move on. There's nothing I wanted to be more in life than a trial attorney, to stand in a courtroom and just engage in theater of the absurd there. But you know what? There's certain shit that you can't pound a round peg into a square hole. That's it. Getting, So that's life today. I mean, there's a lot of people that graduate with a degree in French literature. They're very refined. You know, maybe someday at some cocktail party or something, some reception at an embassy or something, they might meet the ambassador from France and you know, be able to talk Jean Valjean and Victor Hugo with them. I mean, it's, but in the meantime, you got to eat. In the meantime, you've got to eat. So you take your degree in French literature and you go to Starbucks. And then you know, you be like Carrie Class, you say, well, it's honest work. Yes, it is honest work. But it's the kind of work that's always going to get under your skin. You know why? Because you never grew up dreaming of being a barista and developing all of these different new coffee inventions. The only thing you wanted to be was a professor of French literature. This is what's wrong with the world today, because people dream one way and then they end up somewhere else that they never expected to be. Now, does that, in my opinion, does that mean that you don't pursue your dream? Look, if you love French literature, you look at Van Gogh. I mean, this guy cut his ear off or something, right? This guy, yeah, thank you. Hey, Rutherford. This guy didn't care what he did to paint. He didn't care if he had a pot to piss in. It was what he absolutely loved doing. I really think there was something's bad now. I know why. Well, I don't know, Jessica. I mean, Carrie Class is right in a way. It's an honest job. There's no shame in it. But the shame comes when you unionize it and then try to say that it's something that has the equivalent worth of, say, I don't know, being a registered nurse or something where you legitimately had to do some hard shit. Or, you know, work your way up the corporate ladder. So, you know, in that way, Carrie Class is correct. It's very honest work. My only caution is that you're always going to have a chip on your shoulder. You're always going to be resentful of, this is where society opened its bowels and crapped you out behind that counter. Ask how many people really that work at Starbucks. Ask them if they really love working there. They're going to say, am I on camera? No, you can speak freely. Oh, they fucking hate this place. Hate this place. That's a problem with our world today. We have round pegs and square holes. Maybe that person would have done better to pursue French. Maybe they would start a French language academy or write a book or something. We'll never know. We will never know. That's because Carrie Class says most people do not love that, because we have a mismatched society now. It's been terribly bent out of shape by government spending. The things that should be appreciated are not. The things that shouldn't be appreciated are. It's a very bent out of shape economy. So when you talk about job creation, what kind of jobs? Expanded warehouse jobs? Overseeing things until little robots are picking up shit, picking it off the shelves? Healthcare workers, support workers, because Medicare and Medicaid money pour into the system? You know, in 1950, it was what, $30 to have a baby? Everything was great until the government got into the medical business, and then it all went to shit. To be rich and so restricted. Of course. How you doing? Riverway Avenue? Of course. I try to tell people money's not everything. Food, shelter, clothing. I defy everybody to go to AI, go to Google, where the Google search box is. On the right, you'll see something that says AI. You click on that AI, and you ask it, you tell AI, generate a chart for me with two data series. I want to see GDP wealth since 1970 in America. Excuse me, since 1700 to the current day. I want to see wealth, GDP, and I want to see mental health problems in America. Put those two on that data thing, and in 1940 and recently, you're going to see that thing just explode upward. This is the shit that I write about in my book. The supposed connection between wealth and happiness and all that stuff. Food and shelter should not be expensive, but why are they expensive? Why are they expensive? Yeah, it's a great question. They're expensive because every day that you go to the store, go grocery shopping, every day you pay your rents, every day you buy your clothing, you're competing with the government with a checkbook that has no pushback on it and how much it can spend, how many people it can support, and how much it supports. Every Section 8 voucher, every food stamp, every allowance is competition for the same food dollar that you work for. Now, that's not to say that people should not get help. They should get help. That's a civilized society. That's the definition of civilized. But the point is that $1 to $2 trillion, soon to be $3 trillion more spending a year than what it takes in is taxes that haven't been earned by the federal government. That's somebody else's bill to pay down the road. your children and grandchildren get that bill, and what do they get out of it? They get a government that tells them at that time, we don't have that anymore. We had to give that up. Give it, how are we going to dig our way out of this debt? Well, look, bro, here's a shovel. Get digging. That's why your shit goes through the roof. Because you can't compete with somebody that has an unlimited checkbook. It's like going to an auction to buy something, and here comes Warren Buffett in the door, and he likes the same piece of art that you do. Good luck. That's why your housing costs so much, because for the last 30, 40 years, you've had to house untold numbers of illegal immigrants. You've had to support untold numbers of people with medical care, vaccinations, wellness checks, hospitalizations, babies. Untold trillions of dollars towards food supplements. It's distorted the whole system. The difference when you walk into a store and the difference with somebody that walks in with food stamps is your earnings, your work effort, your productivity purchased that food. The other person's was purchased on a future call, a future debt that has to be paid by somebody else down the road. I think someone's just trying to... That's why your shit is so expensive. Your rent, your food, because we're supporting people in a purely economic sense, not a moral sense, an economic sense, that do nothing to contribute their productivity to the system. And I'll repeat what I said before. If anybody is disabled and they have a legitimate disability, they deserve society support, because that's what a civilized society does. And I willingly pay taxes toward that. And I willingly try to support those that are mentally unable to take care of themselves and prosecute their own economic success. I think I'm sitting beside, I'm not the second best lawyer. I wouldn't want to be a lawyer. Too many calling me. Look, as close as you want to get to being a lawyer is watching Better Call Saul. Okay, after you're hit by a car, it's terrible. You're in an accident, or you're a person that deals with just uncontrollable pain and things. You're not a benefit to the workforce, right? You need to be taken care of. This is true stuff. But it's always expanding to more things. And, in 1950, when the Diagnostic Manual of Therapeutic Psychological Illnesses came out, there was something like 150 diagnoses. We're up to over 300 these days. That's not progress. That's a industry that's strip mining human misery. Yeah, I didn't get Alan's book. I don't know where it is. I mean, there's some fundamental shit that's really wrong with this society. The things that you think are your friend are your dire enemy. And you think back to then people say, oh, well, life is so complicated today. It's so horrible. And you look at back at the time in the 1840s of Charles Dickens and stuff, when you had child labor and 12-hour workdays and absolute abject poverty. Charles Dickens' father ended up in a workhouse, and children, half the children died before the age of 5. And you're going to tell me it's harder now with Netflix and Uber Eats and air conditioning, cars. Come on. People dealing with plague and barbarians and hordes sweeping down, Vikings, and now, yeah, we have it hard now. I am a benefit to feeding my loved ones the best when that's a beautiful thing. But just in the pure sense, if somebody asked me why is shit so expensive, and well, there's your answer. If we had to actually purchase what was earned, if the Treasury had to be restricted to what it takes in, we'd have an economy that's 40% smaller than it is today. Yeah, that's why I'm happy to write my check to the United States Treasury, Mark Szymanski, to support people like you. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel civilized, as opposed to turning you out to the wolves and say, "Oh, deal with it." Yeah, you got to manage money very carefully. I get it. I hear it every day. I got people writing me every day. Let's hit that thumbs up button, guys. People write me every day with their problems. I understand exactly the way people feel. But there's economics, pure, unvarnished, straight down the line, and then there's morality, and they're two different things.
I'm the judge, so.
We gotta go there to
You guys want to say
Yeah, there you go. Cindy broke her wrist too. Imagine that, dealing with that shit on top of everything else. Well, I hope you get to file for good unemployment insurance. God knows you've earned it. God knows you earned it. I'm in Santa Rosa. Is May fall for us outside too early? I don't know, Cindy. To me, you're certainly eligible and deserving of unemployment insurance. I would run that right down to the nuts. And I don't know what your age is, babe, but you know, I'd run that right down to the nuts. The secret to walking on water is known with the rocks. That's it. I like that. I like that. Riverway Avenue. I like that. I love that. That's great. You think that's what the Lord did? I don't know. How you doing, Simplex? That's pretty funny. That's the best thing I've heard today. It might be the best thing I've heard this month. Could I ever go vegetarian? When I want to tell you, give a F when and I hope to have Diane up here in the fall, but back in when Diane would come up, I would be vegetarian. I don't know if I was vegan, but I would be vegetarian, and it was okay. I remember Dan Rather. I remember Walter Cronkite. And that's the way it is. One of those looks, I don't know, this guy doesn't even speak English here. Looks maxing, I don't know. Veggie burgers and sweet. It just depends how it tastes. I don't know. I mean, you know, I had Amy's Kitchen. It's horrendous tasting. They had a vegan mac and cheese that I had to spit it out of my mouth. I'd rather have my nuts torn off than to have another bit of that in my mouth, and that's being honest. It's to put it crudely, but I'm just saying. That's the way it is. It's December 4th, 1972, from all of us at CBS News in New York. Good night. And that's the way it is. Do you like liver and onions? No, Amy sucks. They made the worst food. It's terrible, the food. They laid off a lot of people. It's just like, that shit's run its course. Because the big trade-off with vegetarian stuff is that you're introducing a lot of fat into it. And it's not animal fat, which is easily digested, and, you know, it's hard to get fat eating meat. But when you're using vegetable fats and things, it just doesn't have the same. You have to overdo the fat and sodium to give people the taste. Now, I wouldn't swear by that. I kill what I eat. Filet knives are very versatile. That's good. That's good. Every time I catch a crab things and I bring crabs home, I try to eat them all. I've had to waste a few of them over time, but I consciously try to eat what I catch. I don't like fish enough to even go try to catch fish, to be honest with you. I'm happy to go crab fishing because I know I'm going to enjoy the crabs. But you know, you can't overcompensate and build taste in with fat and sodium. Turn over a package of Amy's food that you're going to pop in, and Amy started right here, right in Petaluma, and then big operation here in Santa Rosa. You look at the back of the package, and then we would go down to the Amy's Drive-In, which was one of the few vegetarian drives-in America. And you know, if I have to spit out the food, yeah, I don't know. It's more of a penance than you know. I don't want to pay to be abused. Yeah, I had Boca burgers before I enjoyed them. I reviewed them. Put Boca burger into my search box. I've done reviews. I like Boca burgers. They're good. But look at the fat content and look at the sodium content on it. Yeah, I don't know where Alan Gentry went. I was going to ask him about his book. He just skipped out. I don't know. Have you ever... Yes, I have a review of Heart Attack Grill on my channel. Just put it in the search box. Yeah, the Boca burgers are pretty good. I could eat the Boca burger. But it's not a natural human diet. I thought I just didn't want to admit that couldn't afford me. I don't know. I grew up, there were no vegetarians unless you were on a restricted diet. People's teeth, you can see through the design of humans. They're designed to eat meat. Whether you do or not, if it's an ethical choice, that's fine. Nobody's going to debate that. But a lot of times, if you think it's a healthier alternative, I would debate that. Were there actually hippies that would walk? Yes, there were hippies that would walk barefoot. It was irritating as hell. I couldn't wait till the hippie movement died. The day in 1980, early 80s, there was a show called Family Ties that came out with Michael J. Fox. And Michael J. Fox was counterculture. He would wear a sport coat and a tie and carry a briefcase as a 17-year-old kid or whatever. The day he opened that briefcase on that show, Family Ties, was the day the hippie movement died. That was it. When Ronald Reagan came in, that was the end. They traded their Birkenstocks for corporate costumes and went into the business world that they, a year before, professed to hate. That's when the hippie movement died, right there. And I almost dropped to my knees. Thank you, Lord, for lifting this scourge off of me, off of society. I grew up with these freaks, these Jesuits, Philip and Daniel Berrigan, Catonsville 9, pouring blood on draft cars and cards, and all this freaking Berkeley and these disruptors of society that should have stuck to their knitting. But suddenly everybody didn't want to render to Caesar what was Caesar's. All of a sudden everybody could get their fat little fingers in everything and do it. Yeah, when the parents' money. Yeah, it was really easy to sit there when mom and dad paid your tuition and your professor would tell you it's a day that we're going to hit the streets of Telegraph Avenue in Berkeley and we're going to march down to the recruiting station and just have a sit-in down there. Oh, that sounds like fun. Oh, look, man, lots of good-looking girls today. Oh, let's go. I'm trying to recall tuition because I paid, I think I went to college from 1976, graduated in 1980. Then I purposely worked for the university, for the college for a year because they would pay your tuition. I went and got an MBA on their dime. I believe it was between $4,000 and $5,000 a year. And that was for a private Jesuit, one of the Loyolas. There's 4 of them in the United States. How you doing, Shimei? I went to grade school. It was $90 a year. Go to the military. Yes, I think it's worth it to go through on the GI Bill. Absolutely. If somebody's going to give you a waste, if somebody's going to give you something for free like that, you grab it. And the people that are eligible for the GI Bill deserve the GI benefits. They should be at the top of the government's budget every year, the veterans. You didn't go for free, you earned it. It's fine, but a terrible reason to join the military. There's worse reasons to join. Oh. Look up how many guys self-inflicted injuries when the conscription came in World War I in the U.S. Look at how many guys intentionally injured and maimed themselves. There's so much you don't know about the world that we live in. Ooh. Yeah, but what are you gonna do? Yeah. Oh my God. It is that it is. What it is, bro, what it is. When Clark Griswold got down off that off-ramp in East St. Louis, lost in the worst section of East St. Louis and said, what it is, bro. They proceeded to take the hubcaps off the car. What it is, bro, what it is. It is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Please hit that thumbs up button. We're trying to go up to 100 tonight. It's been a really good conversation. That's why I love having these live streams in the afternoon. What's going on, Monkey Boy? Sorry about my eyes. I haven't heard Monkey Boy weigh in on the war in Iran. I mean, he was a big Trump guy. I don't know if he's still happy or... Anybody else watch the Arsenio? No, I don't watch TV. I got too much on my plate. I have too much other productive use of my time, to be honest. I have a passion for learning things. I don't have a passion. I mean, I watch classic movies I love. Like that's when The Apartment with Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine was on. That's a must-see classic movie. credit card defaults and car repos, or you haven't seen anything yet? You have to consider this. You have to look at the pillars of wealth in the United States in terms of the working person. People that work at Starbucks, yes, they provide a service. People enjoy it. People that work at McDonald's provide a service. People like Carrie Class that clean bus toilets and things, they provide a service. It's not the most glamorous, but it's honest work. But they're not the people that pay into the system and pay the taxes of the United States government. The payroll taxes, the FICA goes in the 5% or whatever from their check, but they're not really funding the treasury needs of the United States. The big bulk of the foundational earn as you go money that the United States Treasury makes is concentrated in one area right now, one big area. I told you before the other day that the value of one company is equivalent to all the productive manufacturing value equity of every manufacturer, from Boeing to locomotive production, to elevators, to agriculture, to John Deere. Everything all together is less than the value of one company, NVIDIA Corporation. NVIDIA does no manufacturing in the United States. All of its manufacturing is done in Taiwan. Okay? But here's the point I want to make. The big value in America is the people that work in jobs that are associated with great paying jobs that supports this big $50 trillion sphere of software and things like that. In other words, the United States, China builds things. We told them how to do that building better, how to manufacture better, and we sold them that technology. We charged them $300 a month for a seat license, and companies in the United States and Europe too, to tell them how to do their processes better. That supported accountants, that supported people that are selling coffee in the lobby of the headquarters of Apple or Adobe Corporation or Salesforce Corporation, Workaday Corporation, Microsoft Corporation, Amazon. All the restaurants, all the housing, all the vacations, all the travel, the flings in Las Vegas, $800 bottle service to have a girl with big tits dance in your face and serve you drinks. Beautiful, right? Good time. $4,000 a night hotel suites. There wasn't the farmers in Nebraska that are coming in. All that taken together is, and you put the new unlisted value of ChatGPT and Anthropic and them and SpaceX, and you get about $50 trillion. Every day now, whether the market's going up, doesn't matter. Every day the worms are chewing inside that bubble of wealth. If you look at Adobe today, down. If you look at Salesforce today, down. If you look at on and on, Accenture Corporation, all the knowledge-based companies are being eaten alive right now. Why? Because they used to be able to sell a seat license for $300 a month. That AI comes along and says now, number one, you don't have to have that outsourced anymore. You can do that right on your PC at your office. Number two, whatever you were buying for $300 a month renting the seat license, AI can do for you for $30 a month. And you know what? You don't need 10 people to do that. You need one person for every 10 that used to do that job. Okay? You wonder why corporate profitability is so high right now, because, well, they're kicking people left, right, and center out for all these supporting jobs that used to be done. They don't need software engineers to write code anymore for software. AI can write that code and have it delivered in under a minute. You have an app, this is what I want the app to do. It can design it for you. It can tell you, here's where you can download the code. You can list your app here and use it privately. Jazz hands, people. The downside of that is a company like DeepSeek comes along from China and says, you know what, ChatGPT, Anthropic, you guys are good. But you're charging $30 a month for 1 million. You're charging $30 for 1 million tokens, which is the unit of money in the AI sphere. DeepSeek can do this for 1 penny. What? 1 penny. So what does this mean? It means that AI will also commoditize itself and also reduce the value of its cost. It'll reduce its cost basically down to meet the market, whatever the Chinese or whatever other competitors do. Think about that. All the trillions of dollars it's rushing into building out data centers, infrastructures for something that's already starting to cut its own throat in the industry right now. So it's a two-prong attack. Number one, it attacks the internal wealth of the existing software as a service companies, the Adobes, the Salesforces, the Microsofts, all these companies that depended on seat license revenue per month, this model. It's absolutely eviscerating these companies. Look at where Accenture was last week and where it is today. The market, the tech stocks went up 500 points on the NASDAQ. This shit all went down. Because if you're Microsoft, how do you find a new product that replaces the revenue that was coming in on those seat licenses? What do you do? Clearly, the example of the value of NVIDIA compared to all the manufacturing, all the productive sector of America tells you there's no value in manufacturing in this country. So Microsoft can't say we're going to start building planes because it's a bad trade-off, right? They'll never get the value. So every day, the insiders, the smart institutions, they're unloading all of these software companies. All that software companies employs tremendous numbers of people that were writing code and doing all this stuff, and they're being bounced out the doors now. Right? They want to pour their money into AI and infrastructure, build out. Job losses are staggering now, and there's no place when you leave a $180,000 a year software job, you leave Meta Corporation, where are you going to go? You know how to code, but the guy says, you're a nice kid, but I got Claude here, AI, who can code 1,000,000 times faster than you, and he's 1/1000th of what you cost. That $50 trillion pillar of wealth is what the whole United States rests on. When that value gets marked down, what replaces it? I don't know, is Adobe going to start building spaceships and locomotives for railroads? Therefore, what happens? The tax revenue, because these are high-paying people. These are the people that pay big taxes, $30, $40, $50, $80,000 a year. Shimei told me I pay more in taxes than the average salary. The average American earns. I pay in taxes. This is what I'm talking about. Now imagine that you're in the high-tech field. Well, guess who's not going to be getting your big tax check? Who's going to be crying at the Treasury? And meanwhile, they're spinning up debt like crazy and selling bonds and all this shit. And meanwhile, the future flows of the Treasury are being threatened here. So you have a structural, horrific structural problem here. You have a whole foundation of the West, basically, because China is manufacturing, all their productivity is worth 12 to 14 trillion dollars, 4 times what ours is. Okay, they're balanced, they still make shit. We built a service sector on top of this. Cruises, streaming services, Uber Eats, Uber driver, all this shit. Trips to Vegas, fancy hotels, all this stuff was built on top of this value, this great kingdom treasury. And inside that treasury, the rats are eating away. So what happens to the services? Well, you see restaurants start to struggle. They don't have the trade. You see hotels in Las Vegas and casinos start to struggle. They don't have the people rolling in. So what do? They tighten the machines so that they cheat you more in gambling. So even less people are incentivized to come. Worse than that, they hit you over the head with $10, $11 bottles of water, $50 resort fees, and finally people just say, you know what, screw it. We'll find someplace, we'll barbecue in the backyard. That's why I talk about June of 2027, because that's the time where AI is not going to be able to show a profit. AI will have so commoditized itself that it's basically giving it away like what was it? Netscape tried to charge $30 a month for people to use a browser. Remember the .com bust? And then one day Microsoft turned around and said, you know what, we're going to put a browser right in our software. Destroyed the value of browsers. And you had Ask Jeeves and all these crazy, all Yahoo, all these companies just got, AOL, they all got decimated. You can't ask people to pay for something if you're giving it away for free. Decimated. Now you have all these companies going out and building these tremendous data centers. And these data centers are tremendously inefficient. They generate a lot of heat. I can tell you when I go live streaming, and Ronnie can tell you too, my biggest challenge when I'm live streaming is keeping my phone cool, because it's processing so much information, visual, sound, other stuff. And I'm walking around in the sun and it is so damn hot, the phone, that I can hardly hold it. Now imagine these data centers, the cooling needs that they have to have, all the processing power that they have. Now, meanwhile, they're building these data centers thinking they're going to need all of this capacity. And meanwhile, you have chip companies out there besides NVIDIA that are building new chips architecturally that can do do what NVIDIA and do what those data centers done 100 times faster and with 100th the cost of it. So now you're looking at, you know, there's a company in Shanghai that can make transistors 1/1000th the size that they used to be. All of a sudden the architecture of the chip gets so tiny that it's basically on a small middle fingernail here. Computing power. All of a sudden everybody's like, well, what are we going to do with the data centers? There's another company that uses light, the speed of light, to process. In other words, there's that wealth bubble is continuously under attack because it's so attractive people it's so attractive that treasury of gold is so attractive that there's people working 24/7 to get at that gold. This is what you're expecting your future to be built on, the continuing value of Adobe, the continuing value of Microsoft, Oracle Corporation. And meanwhile, you have rats gnawing away in your treasury, eating the gold. That's why I say by June 2027, we have recognized structural problems that occur. Number one, the treasury situation becomes horrendous. The borrowing at that point just becomes absolutely horrendous, and interest rates just skyrocket. People see the fiscal situation. They don't like what they see. They start to do the math. They start asking questions to AI, and AI starts to give them very disturbing answers. Starts to say, yeah, well, they're not going to be able to keep a cap on interest rates in 2027. They're going to go up. What's that going to do? That's going to explode the deficit in the United States. Debt creation is going to skyrocket, and the Treasury Secretary of the United States is going to have a brutal job trying to raise money. So they can either do one thing. They can do one of three things. They can either default on the debt, which they can't do because a tremendous amount of lifestyles are built on that. You know, interest payments on debt and all that. You basically implode the economy. Number two, you can just say, this is the interest we're going to pay. We're just going to embargo it. If you don't like it, too bad. We're going to freeze you in. There'll be no action there'll be no selling of treasuries. This is the rate that you're going to get. Or they can print money. Now, which is the most likely? Door C. You wonder why gold and silver have been so strong, because really smart people put 2 and 2 together and saw it doesn't equal 5, it equals 4. They don't like what they're seeing. Meanwhile, we have this tragic momentum play going on right now, where equities are the reverse of most things in life. The higher you go, the less people demand. Unfortunately, the higher stocks go, the more people become interested, like Bitcoin, and start to race in and get involved. They don't know about AI. They don't know about the commoditization of AI. They don't know anything about AI. They just know that people told them this is it. So you have a market that doesn't value process knowledge anymore. It just made it zero. That's what we're looking at for when 2027, when they have to start showing a return on all this money they borrowed. This is why companies like Blue Owl that lent all this private equity, private credit in place of banks, trillions of dollars they've lent out. And now, you know, now the chairman is like this. It's like, I can't believe they're marking down the value of shit. DeepSeek just came out and gave it away for almost free. And if DeepSeek can do 95% of what the average user wants, write an email, draft a letter, do this or that, you know, the other 5% is just a rounding error with a little bit of a marketing budget. That's it. This stuff ends, I think. Well, no, I don't think, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I don't think people are prepared for how they talk about robotics. Elon Musk talks about a guaranteed income and all this kind of stuff, but he's figuring that the job creation will be greater to high-paying jobs than what's being lost. You have people that are being paid handsomely in Silicon Valley now to train AI, which means it's like the guy that you comes into your job and all of a sudden your boss comes over, hey, says, meet Johnny. Could you train him up and show him what you're doing? And all of a sudden, a month later, we're going to let you go. Johnny's going to take over your job. You're effectively working to put yourself out of a job. Now, what else happens too? As the service economy craters and, you know, people have less money for restaurants, less money for trips, cruises, blah, blah, etc. The whole luxury sector just implodes. You already see that in Vegas now with the high-priced suites and all that crap. The demand is way down for that crap. I'm not prepared to talk about what comes beyond that because there's no sense talking about that stuff because I could be wrong. But I've seen the validation in two things: the price of gold and silver, and number two, no matter what the technology stocks do on a day, they keep chewing away. You have 10 stocks that account for 40% of the S&P 500. That's dangerous, folks. And then every month you have people contributing to 401ks that are going into just index funds. That's dumb money. It's not thought money. There's no thought going into it. It's just like shoveling coal into the furnaces of the Titanic. So I'm not, you know, people don't want to hear. I'm not prepared to talk about life beyond 2027 June. I expect we'll probably go up to 60,000 on the Dow or something like that, and then maybe by September, October, just because strictly of momentum. And then when it comes time for reporting of profitability, these AI companies are going to start standing up and they're going to say, we're losing our ass. We can't pay off our bonds for these data centers. And now we have a technology that creates chips that work at the speed of light now. So I want to tell you a company that I think is the next wave. The next great thing. I've already talked about AGRO, which has done great. It'll continue to do great. Nice low-tech fertilizers, land in South America, agriculture. It's a company that manufactures, is developing a process that computes at the speed of, well, it's 100 times faster than NVIDIA. On like one fraction of the space required. And you know what? I think I'll hold that for a video. I know you're going to hate me. I think I'll hold that for a special video. Because I want to be able to explain that. I want to be able to explain that properly. But all of this stuff just is like holding a knife at your own throat here with AI. And the worst thing of all about AI is it hallucinates. It puts stuff in that's not correct. My book got held up and it should be out soon. Okay. Great to hear, Alan. It hallucinates, and the hallucinations get put into the database, so the database continuously, slowly and continuously corrupts itself with nobody to oversee it, nobody to fact check. So you wonder why this preacher that you like listening to delivered a sermon that makes no sense to you at all, because he didn't write it. It's a fake thing. It's hallucinated. It's made up. Things attributed to people that they never said. You're having debasing of a factual world and turning it into a free-for-all of truth. Think about that. You call up a chart of Adobe over the last year and you look at that. Ronnie, AI can fabricate false, what looks like authentic research papers in science, in medicine. And it can seed that in the database that future people pull from. So what you're getting is corrupted information that there's no verification, and it's writing this slop. This is what they call AI slop. It's writing this stuff every second of every minute, of every hour, of every day, of every week, of every month. In other words, if I want to say, just try to give a good example. If I want to say Amanda hug and kiss, I found a video of you that, you were talking about, building a nuke or something like that in your garage. It's possible to make a video like that and have it in the sphere of what's available to be looked at. Now you know damn well that Amanda Hug and Kiss didn't do that, but you know what? There's 7.7 billion people that don't know that. You have a favorite preacher and well, make this preacher talk about this and make him say this. Whoa, somebody stumbles across that. What? What? Wow, I guess, well, he's the guy, he knows. They had a video of Tom Cruise fighting Brad Pitt that was done in China. You couldn't tell the difference between it and the Hollywood. What we're having here, ladies and gentlemen, is the destruction of truth. The destruction of a factual world. It's a world where 2 and 2 can equal 5. So there's some things about the future, and I expected this shit to have, what, Ronnie, 2023, 24? Hey, Raptor. My conclusion is right, but my timing has been off. The when is always the hardest thing to put together. But I've seen AI get called into the White House. I saw the chairman of Anthropic called to appear, called to the carpet of the United States Secretary of the Treasury's office. to explain what the danger is to banking. And when Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, got out of that meeting, he literally looked like a deer caught in the headlights. And that went up to President Trump, who then called these guys on the phone and said, what the hell is going on? Yesterday, or what, 3 days ago, the hackers break into Canvas, C-A-N-V-A-S, which is a system that holds all the, something like, I don't know, 170,000 students' records, grades, schedules, course outlines, all this shit, and held at ransom. AI is finding more backdoors to data places than you can shake a stick at. How you doing, Alex? I just want you guys to be thoughtful of this stuff. I don't want anybody to say I didn't see that coming. When every day you can look up those stocks in the market and seeing them just being reduced relentlessly, day after day after day. Adobe used to be $450. What is it now? $240 and dropping. Salesforce used to be, I don't know, $400. What is it now? $150 and dropping. Accenture Corporation, which is a consulting firm, the woman's like, we're going to be the users of AI, dropping. The most disturbing thing is I used AI to see what it would do in writing a little section of a couple paragraphs of what I wrote. I put that into AI and I said, is there any way you could, make this a little more powerful or clean this up a little bit? And I will admit it was kind of controversial. It's not stuff that everybody, my book's not going to be things that people want to, there's going to be a lot of uncomfortable shit in it for a lot of people. But you know what it kicked out to me? It took my stuff and spit out a politically correct version that was set with parameters that would follow the current status quo of what's considered acceptable for public consumption. In other words, it took my hard work research shit and turned it into to garbage. And I called it out on it. It took 5 go-rounds. And finally, it's like, yeah, we're kind of programmed with the shell to not what it called smooth, to get the sandpaper out and smooth off the edges. Like, what the fuck? In other words, my bottom line is you're not getting facts in there. You're getting what people fed into that want you to know. You talk about disturbing. The average person that will go in there, they will just take what it takes and run it as, that's it, that's the answer. It's not the answer. It's not even a bias. It's a truth series that's factually supportable, that contradicts with the status quo of what's acceptable to be consumed in the world. Well, I've always said, Riverway, that unlimited human freedom is the enemy of civilization, which it is. This stuff takes on a very philosophical edge to it. almost theological, philosophical, economic edge to it. Hey Jose, how you doing? Stay cool, man. It is 73 right now, so I'm not prepared to pull back the curtain on the future because, well, quite frankly, number one, it's all a timing issue, and number two, I doubt if anybody would want to hear. Like I talked about yesterday, this great wealth transfer that's supposed to happen between generations. It's all good until you stop and consider there's not enough kids in the world today. So if you don't have kids or just one kid or whatever, guess where you're likely to end up in your really old days? Anybody think where you're going to end up? Well, the short answer for a lot of people is you're going to end up in a nursing home. And that nursing home is going to cost between $10,000 to $20,000 a month. Used to be when we had large families, and we can talk about a chicken egg problem with that load of an aging parent could be distributed across multiple people. Also, wealth tended to be split, so nobody got obscenely wealthy in inheritance, so it kept a check on people's avarice and greed. But with the destruction of the family, right, there won't be the intergenerational wealth transfer that takes place. And what does transfer homes and other things, if the government doesn't take their share because of nursing home payments, children won't be able to pay the taxes, maintenance, and other things to keep a home. At $10,000 to $15,000 a year, Ronnie, they have no problem paying people to wipe people's behinds. $20 an hour, no problem. The problem is when the government says we can't afford to, Medicaid can't afford to pay for nursing homes anymore. What? Yeah, you're gonna have to figure it out. Oh shit, that means mom's gonna be with me? Yeah. So there's a lot of things coming up that are gonna, it's unavoidable. If you put this stuff into AI and you get past what I call the Greta Thunberg layer, the feel-good layer, it might take 5 or 6 go-rounds, questions. Tell me the real truth. No, this is what the people say that are knowledgeable. Tell me what you say really. Okay. If I'm being honest and I strip off all the corporate layer and all the training model shit that went into me, here's the probability of this happening. 75 to 90%. No, you're hitting the side of the computer. What? What? Keep your eye every day on the software, because as these companies get nibbled on every day, there'll be a point in the decline where it'll just turn into an outright panic to get the hell out of it. You know, people will say, holy crap, I'm so tired of being nibbled on, just get me the hell out of this thing. You know, there's that shocking moment of realization that, oh, I see what's happening now. And it dawns on everybody at the same time. That's why you have companies like Salesforce. Oh, we're going to have a $50 billion buyback. Yeah, it gives that pops up the stock for 2 days, which gives the insiders a chance to dump their crap and run. This is how dishonest. This is what a bunch of, well, for lack of better word, this is the bunch of shitheads that run this stuff right now. Mark Benioff. No conscience. No conscience. What the hell time is it? This has been one of our greatest sessions, Ronnie, tonight. I think a lot of people that aren't chatting learned a hell of a lot here tonight and have a lot of stuff to chew on here. I think they've heard a lot of things that they'll scratch their head a little bit, then they'll go into their computer and they'll start asking some questions. What about this $50 trillion wealth foundation of our nation? Just be prepared. You might not like what you hear, what you see. You can either be a person that says, well, I've harvested everything I can off of this thing. I'll leave the last bit for the last guy. Or you can be the one that takes the hope ride and, you know, maybe Rosie's wrong. Rosie's been wrong before. You know what? $400 billion is peanuts to these companies like Apple, Google, Amazon. They're pouring $2 trillion into AI data centers and things that have driven up the price so much that they're canceling projects now. You can verify it yourself. They're removing projects from the pipeline now because A, they can't get the chips, B, the electricity's not there. So that argues that computer chip engineering itself is going to solve that problem of a need for data centers. What's going on, Adam? It's going to architecture its way right around it. And the only people moving around in those data centers are going to be the homeless people that are stripping out the copper wire inside. You have a company that can do 100 times better than NVIDIA at this current time and render those data centers obsolete. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Because now you're coming in with photon technology that moves data along 100 times faster than what's happening on the surface of an integrated circuit. And you know what? No heat. No need for massive robbing of the local generating power plant that raises people's rates. I've seen what's going on in chip architecture. I've seen what's going on in data centers. I've seen these idiots throwing money around like I've not seen since the dot-com boom with pets.com or whatever the hell these shitty companies were. Puppets on there. Ugh. Everything that could be a .com. And at the end of the day, they all went to shit. This is going to be the greatest and grossest misapplication, misinvestment of capital in the history of the world here. And these people have faith that they're going to be able to be in place before the chip architecture leapfrogs them. To which I say, good luck. And I have the company that's leading the charge in raiding the treasury. Imagine, Ronnie, if I didn't have to worry about the heat of my smartphone. Well, that's the criminal part of it, Adam. They're in such a race to, they have such a fear of being left behind that they're throwing caution to the wind like a poker player that sits there with three of a kind and hopes to get a pair on the river to get a full house. So they're pushing all in. All their capital lines, all their borrowing ability. I've never seen such a fool's rush in my life. They'll list Anthropic, they'll list ChatGPT for some ridiculous $700 billion value, and they will just chew the hell out of that thing too. Yeah, I'm just saying, well, the photon is coming. The photon says there's no more heat in computing anymore. It's like the difference between the vacuum tube, and the transistor, the heat. My vacuum tube amplifiers get hot as hell. My transistor radio doesn't get hot at all. Yeah, well, here's the thing, Ronnie. You can go into your AI, your Google AI settings, and you can turn off the Learn app. Do you think I put this stuff out into the great sphere of information? Hell no, it's targeted to the people that are just watching this. I turned that thing off a long time ago. I toggled that thing off. You're not going to learn on the back of my insights. Hell no. Well, Adam, that's all fine and well and good until you hit the speed of light, and then there's no more speed. You run out of the light. Is the final massive iteration of speed. That's it. 186,000 miles per second. Hey, deal for real. You cannot go beyond the speed of light without having it converted to mass. Which, if you follow Genesis, makes perfect sense. Let there be light. The divine equation. An insane amount of light instantaneously created a tremendous amount of matter. Or things that travel through. No, that's a theoretical thing. It's never been proven. It's like waiting for the axion to be proven. The 17 particles. 60 years particle physics is not advanced at all. There's 12 laws that govern physics, 12. And not one of those laws is newer than 100 years old. Particle physics has added nothing, zero, to the knowledge of the universe and its creation. All it does is introduce placeholders like dark matter, gravitons, for things that it can't explain. So it fools you into thinking that it's advancing when all it's doing is chewing up research dollars. That's it. I put my manuscript in for feedback, and it can read my whole manuscript in less than 32 seconds. 200 pages. I can ask, is there any redundancy that could be eliminated? Yeah, here's the places it's redundant. Are there any more recent sources that I can use? Yeah, here they are. It's all very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. All very fascinating. Well, I can tell you one thing, Adam. AI hates it. And that's a really good sign. They want to bend me, shape me any way you want to. With AI, it's all right. Yeah, thumbs up are appreciated. It's been a very fascinating discussion today. And I think it's the people that aren't chatting that are probably deriving the most out of it here, and that's not a bad thing, too. No, idle hands are the workshop of the devil. All right, take care. Thanks for coming in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I like to keep it interesting. And I'm much more philosophical. Let's get rolling. I want to have a beer and some peanuts. Ronnie, how long have I been live? 3 hours? And of course, we're not charging. Because it's 38%. Can you imagine that? Damn, man. It's the devil's playland, baby. Boy, could you be any slower? There you go. They just announced that they're going to be closing the Medtronic plant here, which was 300 great paying jobs here in the Santa Rosa area. Why? Because of AI. Those are people that are going to have a difficult time finding a comparable job. But the state of New Jersey is hiring. A lot of our thrift shops are closing down because just like Optimist clubs and Lions clubs, Knights of Columbus, and private food pantries, thrift shops, because the people are no longer interested in. As the older people, as the boomers die off, all the social clubs, neighborhoods where people knew each other. Most people don't even know their neighbor, and what's more, they don't even want to know. Visiting each other's homes. Our society has changed markedly. Bend me, shape me any way you want to. What an interesting discussion today. Trying to sell that dumpy place. Nobody wants that damn old grain silos full of asbestos, even though the guy said it wasn't. Tomorrow we're going to have a street stream tomorrow, be advised. We're going to do a hood stream tomorrow. I'm going to get a lot of good exercise. I have to do a project tomorrow. It's a simple one. It's going to be time consuming, but it's almost as good as electrical work. Tastes great, but less filling. Well, you know, Elon Musk says that Sam Altman said it was developed it's going to be a charitable endeavor, and then once Sam Altman saw the money in it, the Mazuma, then all of a sudden that was out the window. So Musk is their thing. Do you have anything in writing that he said that? No. But in accord, sometimes a verbal promise is also holds up, not as well as a written one. We'll see. Look, the value of it is going to be worthless at the end of the day. All right, they're already cutting prices and slashing each other's throats now. Google offered me my storage space for, instead of $29 a month, it's $7.99 a month. There's going to be so much capacity that people are going to blow their brains out. Oh, and that's the way it is. That's the way it is. And what are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? We're gonna keep listening to you, Rosie. We're not gonna let you go too far. Please don't go and die on us. That's what somebody wrote me this morning. God's sakes, don't die on us. Woo! Oh, man. Look at how I cleaned all this mess up. You got that nasty yard. What a thing of beauty. What a neighborhood. It's like being in the old days in the 1880s in the tenements. What a glorious hood. Oh. Somebody just called out Adam on it. Why don't you apply for it? Oh, shit. Put that down there. Flip that around. I want a beer. I want a beer. Don't be a queer. I want a beer. Oh, Roosevelt, you are so fine. You are so fine. We're in time for KPFA News of the world. Boy, I haven't had some good peanuts in a while. Oh.
Participants were intercepted by Israel's naval forces. According to the Global Samud Flotilla tracker, roughly 60 vessels remain en route to Gaza as part of the broader campaign to deliver humanitarian aid. Today marks 4 years since Israel journalists report an investigation by the U.S. FBI into her murder of appears to have stolen. In a new letter to the U.S. Department of Justice, the CPJ called for transparency on the status and timeline of what it describes as a seemingly languishing investigation. Abu Akla was a veteran journalist known to millions around the world for her reporting on Al Jazeera network on Palestine. She was shot while covering an Israeli Defense Forces operation in the West Bank town of Jenin in 2022, despite wearing a clearly marked press vest. Although the FBI reportedly opened an investigation into her killing that year, the Committee to Protect Journalists says it's made no demonstrable progress more than 3 years later. No one has been held accountable for Abu Akla's killing. CPJ recently spoke with her niece, Lena, now a journalist and activist herself.
Shireen was killed by an Israeli soldier in the occupied West Bank city of Jenin. She was there on an assignment. There was no confrontation, there was no fighting, and Shireen was shot in cold blood. Ever since then, my family and I have been fighting tirelessly to get some kind of justice for her killing. The fact that there hasn't been any justice for Shireen gave the green light for Israel to carry out these attacks on journalists, to constantly kill them and target them. There needs to be an end to the impunity that the Israeli military and the government enjoy in order to put an end to this cycle and the pattern of constantly targeting journalists.
The Committee to Protect Journalists now calling on the FBI and the U.S. Department of Justice to release information about the status of the case and commit to a full and independent criminal investigation. The European Union unanimously agreed to sanction Hamas leaders and Israeli settlers today. The announcement follows years of deadlock and growing popular pressure sparked by the fighting in Gaza. EU Foreign and Security Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said diplomats failed to agree on stronger actions against
beer
Israel.
drinking has gone down a hell of a lot.
Claim against Gaza at the International Court of Justice. Spain was pushing for suspending a key trade agreement. Palestinians, rights groups, and international observers are increasingly warning about the worsening violence in the West Bank.
Yeah, it's always going to be backwards on
Men are being killed with
YouTube.
increasing regularity amid a broader climate of arson, vandalism, and the displacement of farming communities and homes near settlements and outposts in the occupied West Bank. At least 40 Palestinians have been killed since the start of the year, according to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, including a record 11 by settlers, 2 more than in all of 2025. The unanimous EU vote is a sign of the political possibilities unleashed by the ouster of Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban last month after 16 years in power in Budapest. A staunch supporter of Israel, the conservative Orban had repeatedly vetoed earlier attempts to sanction Israeli settlers for actions in the West Bank. Orban defeated an election in April by Peter Magyar. The sanctions could signal a turning point in the EU's Israel policy. Lawmakers in Israel have approved a bill setting up a special tribunal that would try and have authority to sentence Palestinians to death if convicted of taking part in the 2023 Hamas-led attack.
You need to fix YouTube. I don't know. I give up on that. What's going on, June?
93-0.
They can do it on the horizontal, but they can't do it on the vertical. Pretty soon they'll give you a choice if you can watch it horizontally to stream or you can watch it vertically. You'll have control over that. Because a lot of people don't like the small box.
To a fair trial. The bill is separate from a law passed in March that approved the death penalty for
Cheers, everybody.
convicted of murder.
What's going on, June?
A measure harshly condemned by the international community and rights groups as discriminatory and inhumane.
Oh, that's good.
A judge delivered a blow.
Yeah, I mean, I cut my beer way down. I don't know, just haven't had the opportunity for
Students
it.
barricaded themselves inside the university's president's office in 2024. A jury trial earlier this year ended in a mistrial, and District Attorney Paul Rosen vowed to retry the 5
June, what's
students.
going on?
Ordered the Thursday.
Please hit the
Santa Clara
thumbs up.
Superior Court Judge Kelly Paul ordered the DA and the entire office's recusal from retrying the case in which the student activists barricaded themselves to protest Israel's war in Gaza. The judge cited internal bias at the DA's office around Zionism. The student publication Stanford Daily Journal reports defense attorneys argued DA Rosen had a conflict
Our
of
world
interest
is just
campaigning
crazy.
for re-election on his prosecution through
Is your
fundraising
brother still
and
there?
video and a website titled Fighting Anti-Semitism. Palo Alto Online reports Judge Kelly Paul cited the video in the decision, noting the prosecution was not a hate crime but a vandalism crime, and said Rosen's statements could have influenced the prosecution.
Like the girl that went in and
citing a
raided
conflict of
the
interest. Defendants called
chicken
the prosecution
operation
against them corrupt.
to rescue a
confirms
chicken.
What we had known for a long time, that the case was being treated exceptionally, and that
We have people that
Rosen's
care
prosecution of her
more
case
about how
was the great
humanely a
abuse of his
chicken
political position, and that
is
his
raised
treatment
than
of
the
case
unborn.
was also rife with bias.
Amy Zhai is one of the Stanford 5 students going to trial.
As the judge recognized in our ruling, this case has been
Isn't that Hunt's
treated
good?
in an extreme way from the
That prison spaghetti sauce is good, huh?
It's incredibly rare, for example, for a case with such a split as ours was in our mistrial to be immediately retried. For instance, we were indicted via grand jury. This is a very exceptional case. This is the first student protest case to have ever proceeded to felony trial, and obviously you're also the first to have ever
He
completed
can
a
really
felony
juice
trial.
that up
What
too.
exactly did the judge rule, and what within the judge's ruling stuck out to you?
The thrust of her argument is that DA Rosen has been using our case not only to fundraise for his own political campaign, but also has been fundraising for.
Let me
his
make sure I'm
campaign by
charging here. This
characterizing our
sucks.
case, as an instance of anti-Semitism. So for
Ronnie,
instance,
hey, Ronnie, I took your advice and I got some higher wattage charge. I got a higher wattage charging block. I paid a lot of money for it.
Is that this case is being prosecuted as a vandalism case, not as a hate crime. And I think from the very beginning, or at least in his public statement, DA Rosen was clear that he was not charging it as a hate crime or intending to charge it as a hate crime. We were being
Always
treated
salty.
as if we were anti-Semites.
Always, and
Although Ian
unfortunately,
Paul has acknowledged in his choice
Costco
of
doesn't carry
that it was about
unsalted.
vandalism, or alleged vandalism.
Can you respond to being called anti-Semitic for protesting Israel's war in Gaza?
I think that it's something that has come across pretty frequently, and I vehemently deny any accusation of anti-Semitism for my protest actions. I believe that, if anything, my protest was just in order to stop the genocide in Gaza, which is being funded by Stanford University, and not out of my animosity towards any group whatsoever. I think it's also worth mentioning that two of my co-defendants
Ronnie, it couldn't be any worse. I got all new
the
cords
local
too.
issue that was raised in the litigation around
C
the
to C.
issues that my lawyer mentioned that
We're stepping up our game, brother.
of the two Jewish co-defendants, for instance, was also an example of DA Rosen's potential bias and conflict of interest.
The students also faced disciplinary actions at Stanford University. Judge Paul ordered California Attorney General
Yeah,
Bonta
that's
to
what
take over the
Costco
case
does.
and lead the retrial.
What good is
It's
that?
unclear whether Bonta will continue to pursue the case. He was reportedly helping the prosecution and defended Rosen. in
That's as
court
useless as
documents.
tits on a bull.
Defendants are calling on Bonta to not retry the case. Rosen's opponent and
I don't know
former
why
deputy
anybody would have
prosecutor Daniel
unsalted.
Chung, who's also running for DA, released a video after Paul's ruling criticizing the prosecution of protesters.
This has been a waste of time and money, and we need to get back to prosecuting violent and repeat offenders. This is a humiliating loss for DA Rosen
I got a
and
baseball
his
game
entire
next
office.
Sunday.
For years, millions of dollars have been spent trying to prosecute Stanford student protesters with felony charges, And today, the judge kicked off DA Rosen and the entire office.
Yeah, but Cracker Jack
creating
uses poor,
conflicts of
shitty
interest
popcorn
that
now.
jeopardize the due process of the defendants.
Santa Clara County isn't the only Bay Area DA's office trying to throw the books at nonviolent protesters opposing Israel's war in Gaza. San Francisco District Attorney Brooke Jenkins charging protesters who shut down the Golden Gate Bridge with felonies. Lawyers in that trial say it's unprecedented charges for the act of civil disobedience. Also claiming a conflict of interest due to Zionism within the San Francisco DA's office. Opening arguments in that trial scheduled for
I'm wearing the A's one.
Against 7 of the 26.
And I'm going to get an A's cap and I'm going to get another jersey.
Their activism.
I think.
Attorneys argue the charges are the most severe of any past bridge blockade and cite pro-Israeli bias in the DA's decision to pursue felonies. The defense has so far not swayed a judge. But last week, the judge did rule the defense could use the term genocide in its arguments.
Cracker Jack doesn't even give you any prize because a kid might choke on it. It's amazing that we were able to be raised in a scary world.
For listeners to pledge their support for independent media.
Oh no.
And you could do that by calling
It's a constant fundraiser now.
1-800-439-5732. That's 1-800-439-5732.
Where's Flashpoints with Dennis Feinstein?
Also get online on kpfa.org. kpfa.org. I'm Christina Onnested, the evening news anchor here at KPFA in the studios with news director Lauren Schmidt. Hey, Lauren.
Hi, Christina. Yes, you are correct. Today does mark the beginning of the second week of our spring membership drive, and we're keeping the momentum strong as we work to increase the support needed.
What hotel did you stay in, honey?
News and
Yeah, they give you a little paper crap thing.
Earlier this evening, we accidentally announced the wrong date at the
Prizes are long gone.
So to set the record straight, it is indeed
Kids don't even know Cracker Jack anymore.
We regret the error, but I'll tell you something. The phones in the newsroom here started ringing immediately, and while Christina was live on the air, I got to take some of those phone calls. And it made me think,
yeah, that's what I mean. We're not dead yet.
Newsroom where you can call and
Steve, what's going on?
With the news director. And I think that's one of the most important values.
I think he's got a big problem.
Radio, accessibility and accountability. Because this newscast is funded by you.
I'm sorry to hear that, Val.
You. No corporate sponsors, no shareholders, not to advertisers.
My problem is I'm pretty easy to please.
Every single day in the journalism we produce.
I don't think he knows what to do in Iran.
Your emails, listening to your voicemails, taking your calls, and we are always happy to hear from our membership. And that is the relationship exactly why so many folks continue to support the Pacifica Evening News. And that support is critical because many other news outlets who also do drives similar to this, they also rely heavily on corporate underwriting and funding tied to major interests.
Yeah, it used to be good. You get a decoder ring.
Could you imagine if we were reporting on Gaza or Lebanon and then halfway through the broadcast you heard, tonight's newscast is brought to you by Lockheed and Martin. Our ethics would never allow that. But your donation is what ensures that independence. And your
What's wrong with Lockheed Martin?
This newscast on the airwaves, bringing you important stories from across the globe, across the country, and across our own communities. Because day in and day out, we are working on the ground to bring you
sounds like a peacenik
and critical information impacting our collective communities. And that's why we're breaking in with the important
This station's really going to be screwed when the boomers are gone.
To become a member and support this critical entity. And you can do that by going online and making a safe and secure donation at kpfa.org.
That's going to be a big problem.
Hey, KPFA, that's 800-439-5732. And we've had 2 dedicated newsroom supporters step up to create a match For this hour, that is donations doubled thanks to Dennis.
I feed the cats in the morning. A lot of times I wait to see if Blackbird's coming. He feeds them at night. When I was
To put a
get a little job.
$1,000 match on the line to help ensure this newsroom stays strong. So folks, when you donate now before
I agree, Ronnie. Used to be able to get some cool stuff out of there.
Support for the extraordinary community-funded newscast on your station, KPFA. Please help keep people-powered news and journalism on the air. And you can do that by calling 1-800-439-5732. That's 800 Hey KPFA.
Oh, thank you.
Online to kpfa.org. We're looking forward to taking your membership and
we're looking forward to taking your money.
Let's see if we can get one listener to go to the phones. We don't have anybody. We're more than halfway.
You've blown them out,
the
man.
goal generally is to raise about $2,500 a night. This is a chance to double your money and help us get that goal. But we can't do it without your support. Again, that number 1-800-439-5732. Please don't take the radio for granted and help keep it alive. Your support makes that possible. Give a financial contribution. Give as much as you can.
Love it. Night, Alan.
Would you be the first one to break your silence? The military's latest strike on an alleged drug trafficking boat in the Eastern Pacific killed one survivor. Video posted on social media Friday by U.S. government on the last boat shipment before what appears to be a calm fire rising from the ocean. Southern Command
Turn the blanket on the ground.
To reactivate search and rescue systems for the survivors. The Trump administration's campaign of alleged drug trafficking vessels by American dollars has been since September, nearly a year, killed at least 193 people in total. The military has not provided evidence that any of the vessels were actually carrying drugs. The United Nations has warned of extrajudicial killings as potential violations of international law. 1-800-439-5732. Please stand up for independent media. The longest shutdown in the world of came to an end last April after President. The longest shutdown of the federal department. Congress is once again heading towards a contentious fight for immigration enforcement and border security. Republican lawmakers are now pushing a multi-billion-dollar reconciliation package. Boost funding for high-interest Customs Enforcement and Border Patrol, using a legislative maneuver that would allow them to bypass a Senate filibuster with a simple majority vote called reconciliation. Meanwhile, critics warn the move could further erode Congress's traditional spending authority and deepen divisions
it's
over
always
immigration
something.
policy. KPFA
Adam, why don't you go down there and straighten Congress? Yeah, let's hit that thumbs up button, guys.
Funding battle over immigration enforcement, Homeland Security Secretary Mullen during a briefing on border security, federal funding, and the future warned that concerns are mounting.
I'd love to play with them, man. Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash and Rosie O'Kelly. Rosie, you looking fine.
Expected to welcome millions of visitors during the tournament's 78 matches.
It's all you can eat sketty night at the local restaurant. $5.99 went up $1. Is it good or is it? I mean, how much spaghetti can you? How much? I don't know. My pick went in here. I hate that. Story of my life. Yeah, I can't even get any tickets for Olympic basketball. Tell me that doesn't suck.
Ahead of the World Cup, Representative Alford
Man, that pisses me off how elitist sports are now.
Congress must act.
B-I-O, yippee-I-O. Yippee-I-O. Ladies and gentlemen, Rosie O'Kelly. Rosieokelly on rhythm guitar. I would love to be up there with Willie and Johnny Cash. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a special treat tonight. Out that noise. Get up here, Rosie O'Kelly. That's it.
ICE agents, immigration
ICE, ICE, ICE. I'm so sick of hearing about ICE.
Say they fear for his life. Glenn Torres reports.
Carlos Ivan Mendoza Hernandez was shot 7 times by ICE in Patterson, California on April 7th. With bullets on his body, immigration agents handcuffed him,
Thank you all.
removed his clothes, and left him naked on the side of the road before he was finally given medical attention. He is a father and a provider of a 3-year-old child.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for tonight. Don't forget tomorrow we got a mega stream coming up.
He was removed
I
from
think
the
we're going to
ICU
start about
by
3 o'clock in the afternoon. We will be on the
transformed
streets
multiple
tomorrow.
facilities.
We
One
try to
is the
find a little bit of an alternate
population.
route here.
Now, she
I know I
says
want to
his
course through
body is
downtown and
showing
all that.
signs of a possible
So I
infection.
hope that you will
When she's
join me
detained
tomorrow.
for
Also, if you didn't take a second to hit the thumbs up button, please do. Also, if you have a question about what you heard tonight, it was very complicated. I know my mailbox is going to be overflowing tomorrow, but I'm happy to try to explain things in case you're a little bit confused about stuff. To my moderators, thank you for everything that you do. Shimei, Ronnie, Judy, I haven't seen Scotty Saren tonight. Thank you for everything that you do. I appreciate all of you so much. Thumbs up are appreciated.